Call the Custer County Board of County Commissioners meeting to order. Let the record show today is March 5th, 2019 at 9 o'clock a.m. Counselor, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, sir, if you would mind?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Is this on time? Oh, that's a call.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
No.
Press who?
Sorry. Is there a mute
You
button?
gotta teach us. We would never have found that.
No. Remember that, Bill.
I don't even know if you touched them in order.
I tell-
Jeez.
Trying to mute the phone, it is not simple.
No.
For sure.
That's crazy.
Madam Secretary, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Flowers.
Here.
Commissioner Candace.
Here.
Commissioner Prince.
Here.
Attorney Clint Smith.
Present.
And Clerk to the Board Kelly Kemper present.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Amendments to the agenda.
I do not, sir.
Nor do I.
None here.
I've got a couple things, but I'll bring them up under Commissioner items. Audience introductions. Jackie Bubis for the Sentinel.
Dennis Sprecher, Recycling.
Welcome. Thank you.
A little light on audience compared to last time.
We're gonna talk about marijuana.
guns back
Come
up
back.
again.
Right. Approval of minutes. I don't think we have any. I think we're all up to date with that. So, Commissioner items. Commissioner Canada, would you like to begin?
Sure, just been working the airport issues. Lots of good things happening. Grant process, good turnout for that. Thanks, Meredith, for jumping in there. That is due on the 15th. We're going to get a copy into to Christy Dune on the 8th. Shouldn't be too hard. Looks like it's going to be a well-written document, I think, the way it's turning out.
Good.
And let's see, the strategic plan, I just put 2 ads in the paper for the next 2 meetings, out this week and next. For the community meeting, that's the next big meeting, it'll be at the Tony's, to have a joint, the community to have input on the rough draft of what they're pulling together and discuss that with the task force and the community.
At Tony's?
At Tony's.
I had Rancher's Roost in my article.
No, not for the next meeting. It's going to be a big
Like
meeting. So
March
she decided-
19th?
Yes.
Huh.
Did you get it? Well, we'll have to put that was.
No, it hasn't been
That
printed.
change hadn't been printed yet.
I've got Ranchers Roost.
Yeah, but she decided. I talked to her this morning. It's going to be a bigger meeting, and so she decided it'd be better at Tony's.
Okay.
Good thing I mentioned that.
Yeah.
And putting the ad in the Sentinel too. And then the second meeting, the last meeting is the final meeting, which will be here in the boardroom, or if we have to, we'll move it. But that's just to review and comment on the actual product and make updates to the final draft. And that's on the 21st, Thursday.
I just want to comment. I went over the draft pretty carefully. I switched to.
She's doing a great job.
Great
I think
job.
it's pulling things together.
Yeah.
She's capturing the things we've talked about, that's for sure. And let's see, I'd like to have a discussion tomorrow, probably might be good before our meeting with the Upper Ark guys. I'd like to talk about the water board idea that I've got to get guys that are going to be dedicated. And it probably involves the revitalization of the Wet Mountain Valley Water Board, which has been in existence for 35 years, but it's been defunct for more than 10 or 15 years, and they still have a board, what do you call it, a chart and a set of bylaws. So I asked to get a hold of those, and we could take a look. We might be able to modify it, but my idea is to try to get somebody on top of what's happening, be an interface, make sure the Upper Ark guys, or whoever, there's other water boards that are popping up all over that we want to be aware of as a county, that's commissioners that are working for the good of the people. So we can discuss that more tomorrow. And that's enough for now.
Okay.
And we'll put that on the agenda.
Yeah,
The 24-hour gig. Close.
but
24
how do
hours,
you
5
want to
minutes.
phrase that?
It's just this water board discussion, county water board discussion.
Waterboarding?
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't done much since our last meeting. Attended a fair board meeting on Sunday afternoon, and they are pressing ahead with their strategic plan. We're having a meeting tonight out in Gold Domingo about that as well. So I wanted to discuss CenturyLink's claim for the $345 that remains that we
Yeah, I
did
saw that.
not pay. I think, gentlemen, you probably received a copy of this letter from JNR. Counselor, did you also receive, were you included in that email?
No, I haven't seen anything about it.
CenturyLink, well, initially they turned it over to a collection agency to collect their 3,000 or whatever that original amount was. I can look actually real quick here and tell you.
Yeah, probably on the restate.
Well, we're talking about the damage when they...
Damage of the phone line when they cleaned out the cattle guard.
Okay.
So we
There was
paid.
never a lawsuit on that.
No.
Because the
Just
collection
collection
agency
agency.
wouldn't get, well, I guess they could.
They turned it over to JNR, which looks to me like it's a collection agency. So we paid the portion of the bill that was to cover the cost of the repair, and they had also included $345.12 as an administrative cost. We didn't believe we needed to pay that because we had never received an invoice from them. So on behalf of the commissioners, Jay wrote a letter. We looked at it and sent that along with a check to pay the amount of the damages, and then we get a follow-up letter from JNR that says we still owe them, well, it's actually we owe CenturyLink $345 for an administrative cost. I think our stance was we didn't believe we owed them that because it was the first, we paid the invoice when we got it. And so JNR says we have been retained by the above referenced client, meaning CenturyLink, regarding property damage allegedly caused by you. Please provide this office with immediate payment of $345. The other balance has been paid, and I can pull up that check request or the voucher. Sorry.
The JNR identifies itself as a collection agency, not a law firm that's doing collection work, right?
It's not a law firm, was my understanding.
I think
It
it's
was
a collection
collection.
agency.
If it's collection, they have to have a statement at the top that says this is the intent of this letter.
Adjustment company is what it's called.
It didn't have that, so I don't know who these folks are.
Yeah, it just says JNR Adjustment Company.
They must be under contract.
Well, they don't get
Yeah.
to add on costs like that?
No, we didn't think so. Let me see if I can pull that original amount off.
Wonder why we never got a billing from them.
Well, that was a question, if I may, that we really had. You know, my concern was, if in fact we didn't receive it, because the question was, it was a long period of time from the time the damage to we paid the bill. My thought was, if we never received a notice that we owed it, and we paid it in a timely manner, then we don't owe it. But the question I have, since many of these bills go directly to Road and Bridge, is it possible, and Gary may not even know, is it possible someone there got it and didn't do anything with it? And if that's the case,
Then we're liable.
then I feel we probably are liable and we should pay the $340. It's not a lot of money, it's principal to me. But the real question is, if we were delinquent in paying it, that we knew about it, we ought to pay it. If not, I just don't feel, it's not a lot of money, but I just hate to do it.
And I know their administrative costs are when they either tried to rebill and did follow up, and then they gotta get a hold of somebody to.
But
That's
the point really
wouldn't
is,
be necessary if we got it in the first place.
were we notified in a timely manner? If we were, and for whatever reason, if it was a county somewhere along dropped the ball,
Yep.
somebody, then we should pay it. If not, I'm not happy about this. I don't know if it's worth fighting about, but I just don't see it. I mean,
The check voucher was for $2,875.98. That has been paid. We included with that check a letter that basically we said that Custer County challenges all costs beyond the actual repair cost and therefore refutes the extraneous direct administrative cost. CenturyLink's administrative policies regarding billing are of no concern to Custer County, and adding administrative fees to the repair bill is inappropriate. So, that's been our communication with them.
We didn't say anything about not receiving it.
I think we did.
Yeah, I didn't read the entire letter.
Did we say we didn't receive it?
Let's see. For months after the incident, CenturyLink transmitted its initial invoice in the amount of $3,221.10, delineating the charges of $2,875.98 for repair cost and $345.12 for direct administrative costs. So,
And in that letter, we accepted liability for breaking the line, because I don't think that's
Yes.
really a question. It was the
Right. We didn't
administrative
call
thing
and
we
we
got an
should.
issue.
right. Yeah, Custer County assumed the responsibility for repairing the damage, which we paid for that. So I don't know if you want to look at this material and reply to JNR as an attorney for the county, or
Yeah, I'd like, I mean, first of all, administrative costs are just their everyday cost of doing business, you know, it's not something
Right.
separate that they would not have incurred.
Yeah, that's true.
But for this, I mean, it's internal, it's not, if they had hired a lawyer and the lawyer's trying to say, no, I wanna get, you know, our legal fees reimbursed, which they wouldn't be able to do that either, but yeah, I would like to take a look at it.
Should we ask Gary if he found it or if he ever got it or anything?
well, we asked him when we brought this up during the staff meeting if he'd ever received any other invoices. He told us no. Go ahead.
If I may, and maybe Gary just didn't know. So I would say before we, as Council Clint, to take the time to do this, maybe we ought to ask Gary to do an internal investigation to determine, let him ask the people, did anybody receive this? If he comes back and says no, then I think it's absolutely appropriate.
Was there any time frames between when Sherry took over as the admin over there, then they may have dropped that?
I don't know the answer to that, so.
Could have been.
Well, a claim against the county needs to go to the commissioners, you know, through the clerk or directly to you. I mean, if they filed a claim to Road and Bridge, it was the wrong procedure.
But they would bill us normally, don't you think?
Well, yeah, if they're gonna send the
They'll send it
invoice,
in
they
to
should
Road
have
and
sent
Bridge.
the invoice directly. If they sent it to Road and Bridge,
It's
Road
normally
and
what
Bridge,
happens, so.
you know,
We don't get
drop
every
the ball
billing
over
for
there.
Road and Bridge. We
Well,
get it through Road and Bridge,
I guess you can have Gary see what he's got over there.
yeah.
That's what I was suggesting.
Okay.
Well, I sent you those two documents, and then
Okay.
I can research some more after the meeting.
All right, well, let me know what Gary has to say if he wants to look.
Yeah.
How long ago did that happen? Was it last year sometime?
August or something.
Just
August.
close that out. Yeah, it was last
Okay.
summer.
Yeah, it was kind of like September when the
Yeah.
incident occurred and we didn't get the bill to just
They thought their line had been rerun
Right.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that long ago. I can see if this, they tried over and over and over again, but I think your response was reasonably prompt.
But don't they usually reference and say, because the invoice of this date was not paid?
And that's why I felt if
After
that
many
was the
attempts
case.
of
Right.
collecting, you are now remanded to whatever.
Yeah, if that was the case, I wouldn't have a problem paying it, but I don't believe it is. I think we paid it when we got the initial invoice, so we'll pursue that with Road and Bridge this morning when it comes in. And the other thing I had was, I looked at that strategic plan as well, the draft copy. I communicated to Cheryl and asked her if she felt like we wanted a actual commissioner's letter of support at the beginning of that document. She said she did. So with consent, I'll work on that if you guys.
She gave me a rough draft. I've got one that Joanne's gonna wordsmith, and I'll
Okay.
send it to you, and then we'll come up with
Good.
it all. Most strategic plans have the boss saying, here's the vision, here's what we wanna do, and here's why.
Okay. That's all I have. Commissioner Davis.
After the meeting last Thursday, I attended the phone conference, as did you, Mr. Chairman, regarding our incident with the gentleman who's been making a lot of claims. After that, I went to, attended the Attainable Housing Committee. Unfortunately, I didn't have a quorum, but they have a wonderful opportunity. They received a $40,000 grant, and the college that has the properties in Silvercliff, which already have the utilities going to it, the college is interested in selling those at a very nominal cost, maybe $5,000 or so. So I think the Attainable Housing, once they get a quorum, may vote internally that they would like to purchase those lots with the grant money. And I just mentioned to them that they don't have the authority to approve it, they need to come to us, but once they approve it, then bring it to us, and we'll see if the commissioners concur or not. So I thought I was sorry to hear that they didn't have a quorum, but they were thinking, like, let's get off the, get up and do something, get something going. Unfortunately, you may have received that Tony has resigned from that. And actually, in a lot of ways, I'm somewhat relieved, because I was very concerned that there may be a conflict of interest if he was bid on it and somehow won the bids, and he's also on the committee. I grappled with that. I never opened my mouth on that, so when I saw him resign, I kind of said, well, unfortunately, I think that issue may be clear of itself. Okay. On Saturday, I spent quite a long time with our group of marijuana growers, as I promised I would do. We went through the agreement that we had 19-01, the resolution. First thing they asked me to relate to you, and I told them I would, is that they really apologized for being so late in the game. They said they just had no idea that this was going on. So I told them I appreciate that comment, and I would pass it on. The meeting was very cordial, was very appropriate. I think some of their recommendations are very reasonable. We're meeting again, and they run this by the sheriff. Sheriff was conceptually in favor of this. I wrote up just a synopsis of what we discussed, the changes, and what would modify 19-01, how it would be modified, what changes would take place. That group has it now. We're meeting again Thursday at 4 o'clock at the Roadhouse again, and the sheriff will be there, and I believe Buck will be there also. He'll be there representing Silvercliff, he told me. So when I spoke to the spokesperson for this group, he told me that what I wrote was, pretty much what they wanted, but we'll hear what they have to say on Thursday. Just kind of a preview. The sheriff and I also think that their recommendations will solve the issue of who can grow, who can't grow, how much can grow, and what isn't being grown within this group then would be outside the purview, and the sheriff will know who it is and who it's not. And I think that was the real sheriff's issue.
So it's focused on medical marijuana.
Well, we did. They tried to make it medicine and recreation. I said, I don't really care. Marijuana is marijuana. As far as I'm concerned, you want to call medicine, you want to...
Yeah, I'm not worried about them. I was just worried about them getting granted bigger space to grow stuff when the recreational guys don't necessarily.
Well, we'll talk about that.
That's what you're. I'm just asking if that's what you're discussing.
That is in the plan, and there is a modification to that. There's a modification to the 1 acre minimum size, because one of the ladies there, and I thought it was fairly appropriate. I'm kind of jumping the gun, but she said, "I'm poor. I can't own an acre or rent an acre. I own a smaller lot. Are you telling me I'm discriminating against being able to grow?" And I said, that's a reasonable suggestion. So anyway, we'll bring it to you, we'll see what the sheriff has to say, and then we can discuss it again. So that's moving forward. Let's see, what else? I think that takes care of what I've been working on. So we'll get back to, that. I think it's on the agenda for the 29th of this month, for hearing, but I'll have, if they come up with an agreement that, the sheriff, is in favor of also, I'll send it out to everybody and we can review it ahead of time so we can discuss it.
Was Shannon Barley at your first meeting?
It's not.
Okay. All right.
They had spoken to him about it though, and
Okay.
they claimed he was on board.
Good, thank you, appreciate it. Anything else, gentlemen? Attorney items?
I just looked up JNR Adjustment Company, that is a debt collection agency out of Massachusetts. And there isn't any provision, that would allow, no legal authority that would allow them to just tack on an additional charge. I did the math, that's 2% of what the amount is that we did pay, the $28.75, so that's where they got that figure from. But I agree, it's not a whole lot, but I think it's an in-house expense that if they have somebody in their accounting department working on it, that person will be working on something else using that time. You don't get to pass those bills on to everybody. And I don't think we were terribly delinquent, I never had to go to litigation or anything.
I don't think we were delinquent at all, I think we
No.
paid it.
And we found out.
A reasonable
So
time.
you got an invoice and you don't
Paid it.
suddenly start adding on
Right.
additional amounts for it, so
Okay.
I would object to it, and if you want me to write a letter to that effect, I
We'll
can.
have a
We got the
conversation
perpetrator in here, we can talk to him.
Okay, yeah. Come on, Road and Bridge Road.
Anything else, sir?
Goes your Christmas.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So the memorandum of understanding that's on the agenda for today with the Saddle Club, I helped a little bit on that. And last Friday, Sheriff Byerly and I went to a task force meeting in Canyon City. It's something you're familiar with, I've talked to you about it, in a couple of executive sessions. Nothing remarkable about that people are still sort of mulling over what action they want to take, and there's some discussions, but there hasn't been any decision on if anybody else is going to do something. But my plan is still, based on what we discussed previously, and what you actually voted on after the last executive session, is that I do plan to go forward with legal action, and when that happens, then I would say at that time we can go ahead and make it public.
Okay, perfect. All right, sir, thank you. Anything else?
That's it for me.
Okay, thanks. Administrative assistant? Anything?
How about your grant? Did you work on a grant?
Oh, yeah. So I worked on
Two grants.
2 grants. One for the landfill to get a skid steer. That was the first we sent it in. So I'll hear back in April. And then I'm working on a grant for the airport. Gonna send in a draft on the 8th, and then it'll be due on the 15th. So a little bit better of a time frame on that one. So.
Okay, good. Thank you for your work on that, appreciate it. Public comment? Anything for the good of the order? Okay, we'll move on. Staff reports, landfill and recycling. Good morning, gentlemen. How we doing? Smiley, how are you?
Good.
See how we ran up here fast to get the only chair?
Yeah, that's right.
Bring in the chair.
Right here.
It's embarrassing that the customer got the quota coming because it doesn't belong.
One chair, that's right. How we doing?
Good.
I'll take the money.
Treasurer already got it, sorry. You can have it later.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to thank Meredith for all of her work on that grant, which is a great big help.
We could charge them an administrative fee.
Yeah,
Whatever dollars.
$345.12.
I'm on board with that.
So that only makes sense.
Yeah. I don't think I had any paperwork from you ahead of time, did we?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, it looks like this.
Did that come,
And this,
did that come through Miss Meredith or not?
Yes, but probably from the grant writing.
She
I might
had,
have forgotten to send it.
she had two
I can
updates
send
on it. I think it was, I don't remember which one it was on. I think it was two.
Here's an extra copy of it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, sir. We'll share.
the,
Which one you on, Rusty?
groundwater monitoring wells report came back with no impact, which is a great thing. And they should be back today. They called me yesterday and said that they were gonna try to come back up today and do their second quarter sampling. And I'm sure that'll come back, no impact too. If it does, then they won't sample them again for 5 years.
Yeah.
Nice. Good. Okay.
And so I called the engineers on that, or emailed back and forth with them.
Now, your construction permit for new trenches, is that what that's for?
No, it's actually just air pollution, APAN is air pollution emissions notice.
Okay.
So every 5 years, it's a construction permit,
Oh.
basically.
Just to operate, basically.
Right.
Digging.
Right.
Okay.
And we started the financial assurance process, so I have some paperwork for Sam DiNardo when he gets here.
So what is an assurance process?
That's financial assurance that we have the money to take care of the landfill when it's closed.
Nice.
So we have to do that every year.
You have to show that to who?
Every year,
Every year to the state.
yeah, right.
Good.
Then it's good stair, of course, you guys know that one.
You're sure it's
Yeah.
big enough, Rusty? You're
Yeah.
gonna have second thoughts now.
No, it's big enough. We tried it out.
Oh, it's still there, isn't it?
No, we took
You took it back, why?
Yeah. 'Cause I didn't know how long it was gonna take to be approved, and I'd rather have it sitting on their lot than ours.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I know they were wanting to push it on you.
A couple of months. And we started placing trash in the new trench, so.
The countdown has begun.
Countdown as we got.
So you were able to break ground up through the ice.
Question.
Go ahead, yeah,
Um,
sorry.
You said a new and final trench. The word final makes me nervous.
Mhm.
When this is full, where's the new and improved trench gonna be, or do we not know at this point?
It's gonna be the expansion in that draw.
Okay.
I thought you had a trench planned up above though.
Yeah, and we could actually put a trench, we'll see what the engineers come up with, because they know that, all that information too. We can put a trench,
East
or
of the
maybe
recycling.
two up
East
there, and then fill in that draw.
So when you said final, you meant in
Sure.
the current location, not
Currently,
final
yeah.
to the landfill.
Right.
You're making me nervous. I thought we had time to get this
How
squared
long
away.
does it take to fill a trench? How many years? 1, 2?
They've been going 5,
How many?
But of
so
course,
we
more.
better be up and running and.
I would plan for 2.
Yeah, if we continue to see growth and increased activity out there, that may go down 4 years, really.
Yeah.
It could go down.
And see, that trench that we just filled up was the longest trench out of all of them. Not a whole lot longer, but it was longer than the rest of them. And Dale said we would get 68,000 yards, I think, in that trench, and we got 82. So
kidding.
that's a big plus.
He's got a bigger weight on the compactor.
We compact that trash.
Good.
Has your pickup truck arrived yet?
No. And I called them last week and they haven't returned my call, so I might have to slip down there and visit with someone.
Nicely visit.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, you can see that the cubic yards does go up every year in these trenches.
And that was in just the one trench,
Right.
F, huh?
Right.
Wow.
Each one of those trenches different length.
Well, these
Yeah,
figures
these
all
were
went
the-
into that trench.
Right.
Well, they were all the same.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
So
I see
we've
it.
gotten
See, it doesn't seem like that's
four-
that was many years. I
So
think
that was
it's
4
5
years
years.
out of that 5 years.
5 years in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I see it.
Amazing how the amount of trash doubled between almost doubled between 2014 and 2018. That trend continues. We're gonna have to seriously think about where we're going in the future.
Agreed.
So we just need to keep pressing on with the whole permitting process and try to find some money
And the
and
money.
Right.
squirrel away some money, because we've got an account started, right, a line item in the budget.
Yeah, and the engineers said that they would start on the proposal and send us a proposal for the expansion, and that money figure will be on that.
Okay.
And then, of course, we'll have to have money to do the trenches and/or put a dam down at the bottom of the area landfill, right?
Cheapest way to go probably would be just to get that area fill
Yes,
that drive
going
first.
first.
And then come back to those other trenches on top, because of area fill, I mean, it's already a trench,
Right.
pretty much.
Fill
Just
it.
have to get in there and scrape the topsoil off, and if we can get away without having a liner, we're really gonna be in good shape.
Nice.
Take
I
time.
wonder if we could, and I don't mean this facetiously, the 69 coming in, that hump that blocks the view, talk about leveling it, maybe that dirt could be used for fill.
Where at?
Go down here at Rosita Road and Highway 60 intersection.
Oh,
Make it more visible, safer.
We had talked to CDOT about cutting that hump out of there.
oh,
The safety, it's just a bunch of dirt, it's
Might
gonna have to go
be-
somewhere if we do.
Maybe 8,000 cubic yards of dirt. Because we talked about having to put a earthen dam at the bottom end of the area landfill, correct?
yeah, that'll have to happen.
Be good use of
If
it.
we could get by without a liner, ooh.
Especially if CDOT will pay for the removal of the dirt.
Yeah. We can always use dirt, especially with that area fill.
And without nails.
And you had enough material that was not frozen to cap this F cell?
Yeah, we're sneaking by,
I say capped, covered.
right. Yeah, those stockpiles are still pretty darn hard, but we're scraping up enough to get covered on it.
So,
Took a while to get that monitor. When did you take it in? 11 to 15?
Oh, yeah, I did that last year. That really worked out good getting that monitor calibrated down to air gas and Pueblo, because I used to send it back to Industrial Scientific, where I bought the monitor. So you send it back to them, you tell them you want the O2 sensor fixed,
70 or
and
something.
the monitor calibrated. Well, it'd be cheaper to buy a new one. Took it to air gas and they calibrated it and fixed the O2 sensor. It didn't cost anything. Of course, it was still on warranty, but
wow.
still didn't cost shipping, which was $6 or whatever.
Good.
Anything else, sir?
Well, we'll see what Tri-Hydro comes up with this last sample. then we should be,
Could be the pivotal point, huh?
that's gonna be it. Then they'll do their final report. The state sent me a report, cause I called them and asked them if they received the first quarter report. And they did, so they emailed me that report, and it's lengthy, a lot of analytical stuff.
All right, we'll keep our fingers crossed, huh?
Yes, we will.
Good. Okay, sir, thank you. Anything from the recycle?
Not a terrible whole lot. Plastic is terrible right now in the country. They're only taking 1s and 2s, which is milk bottles.
Water.
Yeah, that's about all they're taking. Everything else is flat. We're not at all taking it at all. Cardboard is flat.
What about incinerating plastic?
They're doing something like that back east. There's I can't remember the county, small county, but they're incinerating everything. They have an actual, and I read the article here the other day, but they're not recycling anything. They're just taking it all to the incinerator, incinerating it. They have a problem with pollution, of course, because burning plastic is not a good thing. It supposedly is a sanctioned incinerator, supposed to have scrubbers and everything on it.
Expensive.
Multi-million-dollar incinerator.
Yeah, we can't justify it for here, obviously, but just flat right now. There's China not taking anything anymore, and they're making it impossible for us to send it to them because you have to itemize every type of plastic, and we just don't do it. They won't accept it unless it's pure recycled. And almost all Southeast Asia is that way. But,
Yeah, it's discouraging to think we gotta run our lives based on what Southeast Asia does or doesn't wanna do.
and our country is just not stepping up right at the moment.
Well, I think we need to continue to promote our cardboard recycling, huh?
And it's gonna keep getting bigger.
To get a bigger room to flatten it out in.
Yeah, that's the other
Yeah,
thing I've been thinking about is collection site for cardboard.
Which we could come up with an answer for that, cause all disposal trucks are down, we didn't get cardboard last week.
Now, because their trucks are all not DOT.
Oh, really?
So if there was a central collection point in the county, let's say somewhere close to towns, I visualize an open-topped semi-trailer backed into a dock or pulled along the side of a dock where people could drive up, throw their cardboard in. And then on some frequency, we back a trailer or tractor under it, pull it out to the landfill and unload it, which could be a problem. But
There's ideas on how to do that. We can get a roll-off that can be dumped off a trailer about the same size as we're getting right now. Of course, it takes capital, but
and then what? That roll off backs into your
we could
bale
actually
shed
just pull it back right into there and we'll take it right off the back of the trailer instead of dumping it. We don't even have to dump it.
pull it off, put it right into the baler.
And we pull it right off and go right into the baler. It still would have to be hand.
It's a
Right.
cover, you don't wanna get it rained in.
Well, that would be great if we could get that covered.
Get a live deck in it.
Right now, they don't cover anything, and so we deal with the elements.
Right.
Frozen cardboard.
Yeah, but you compact it first before you throw it out there.
So,
One of the things I was concerned about the whole cardboard thing was the wind blowing that stuff out of that trailer or roll off or whatever it is.
Problem is if you have it somewhere, like their yard over there is pretty good because somebody's always watching. not close enough, but they watch. Because people throw their bag trash in the cardboard bins and plastic, all kinds of.
That's the big problem with it. It has to be monitored to a point. You can't monitor 100%, but you got to make them think that it's being monitored, because they will fill it full of trash.
Smile when you're on camera.
Once in a while, just put a picture in the newspaper of the trailer.
But it's going to increase.
Yeah, my wife and I have been recycling. We've been holding on to our plastic. We actually haul it to Florence. But our cardboard, it's just amazed us how much volume two average people have generated in cardboard in 28 days of February and 5 days of March.
A lot of Mary Kay boxes, Tom.
Well, there's a lot of cardboard, that's for sure. And so then I think, number one, the volume going into the landfill, and then the lack of revenue generated by selling that cardboard, had I either been hauling to the landfill or burning it. So,
And paper is flat too, and you wouldn't believe how much. I take down 3,000 pounds of paper to Salida every month and week. That's just computer paper, magazines, things of that sort. And it's getting even more all the time. I used to go 2 months, now it's going a month and a half, a month and a week that I'm taking that trade.
yeah, I don't want to say we got to be careful what we ask for, we might get it. We need that cardboard to be not in the landfill and being in that baler and sitting out there ready to go.
Making a buck.
So
Needs to be. Figure out a way to do that.
And another thing that's going on too is with glass. Coors, for some odd reason, is starting to decline colored glass, so it's got to go to another place. They're only taking the amber, and so they're having problems. They're going to have to get another vendor. At least that's what I was told when we were discussing it over in Chattanooga. Seems to be a problem with colored glass now.
okay, all right. Anything else, gentlemen?
That's all I have
Okay,
for this day.
all right. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Tom.
Good job, boys.
So, see you guys.
Good luck with the grant. We'll keep our fingers crossed with that as
Yes,
well.
we will.
Now that we have a
That'll be
professional.
huge.
Okay.
See you, Rusty.
Thank you for all your help.
Thank you.
Last minute stuff.
Next item on the agenda is road and bridge. We're running a little behind. Our apologies.
Sounds like you're better.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good.
Thank you.
I do have road and bridge documents in my board packet.
Two of them.
So Gary, there hadn't been that many complaints. What are you doing?
We're getting snow this winter. That's
Snow
why-
helps.
It really does. It solidifies the roads and it helps. Right?
And
It's something we didn't have last year, so that's
Yeah,
one
it
of
was
the big
tough.
differences. But then on the flip side of that is we're dealing with a lot of plugged culverts. Melting snow is freezing them up. That one we cleaned out on 271 a couple of weeks ago, it's frozen up again, so we're going to have water over the roadway. So, and then I was on 198 Sunday morning, and we've got a culvert up there that's plugged up, and it's putting water over the road. Well, it's happening probably in about 8 or 10 places throughout the county. So
Was that road on come to me. Hermit Road,
Yeah.
it was running over last week, but
It's frozen.
What's that, the
It
culvert?
was.
Either the culverts are plugged with material or else they're plugged with ice.
yeah.
I got a call over the weekend on a issue up here on Ute Mesa where an individual, and it was mainly because the ditch was full, but snow was melting so fast and the ditch was running so full of water, it was putting water in this guy's yard and around his house under his porch. So anyway, I took a backhoe up there and cleaned the ditch out, took care of that situation. But, you know, it's great to have the snow, but it's still creating issues for us. So.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just part of it. I'd rather have the snow and the issues than for it to be dry and not dealing with cold problems.
Did you clean one out on Hennepin, on Kettle Lane?
Yeah, we did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another one that I was told by Roger that creek runs year round and it
It runs so slow it freezes.
That's what it does. Yeah,
And it'll overflow.
Yeah, the cold temperatures at night will freeze them from top or bottom to top.
Yeah, and it's been awful cold.
Yeah, and it's hard to get them clean when that happens. It takes 4 or 5 times the amount of time and water to get one cleaned out. So it's kind of a constant battle this time of year.
Our overlay on Hermit Bridge is starting to fall apart on us, isn't it?
It is. I've got some bag patch mix in the shop right now, warming up, so we can go out and do some patching.
It might be warm enough to do it here this week.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I'm going to transfer that stuff. Our shop's only about 60 degrees, but I'm going to transfer it into our break room and get it a little bit warmer and see what we can do with those spots. And we've got some more potholes and various parts of the county on that chip, so we've got to get some of them taken care of.
Good.
Any maintenance problems?
Maintenance as far as what's that?
Anything? It's just you're taking advantage of the time. I just wonder if you're running across any issues on machines.
No, we had one transmission rebuild that I'm sure you've seen the invoice for. Byron caught that, fortunately, before the transmission went completely out. He pulled the filter and was doing a fluid change on it and found the foreign material in the filter. And between us and Wagner, we determined what the problem was, and it was internal in the transmission. So anyway, I was a little shocked when I seen the bill for the rebuild on it, but I guess it's better than a new transmission. Which
What was it in?
it was in one of the older 140Gs that we got, cat motivator.
Ah.
But the problem we're running into on those is trying to find parts for them. So as the machines get older, the parts are going to increase in price because of availability, and you can't even buy a new transmission anymore. And if you could, it would run about $40,000. So that's the downside into running the older equipment. So, I mean, in some ways it saves money versus the new stuff. But when a
No
transmission,
such thing as a free lunch, Gary.
exactly. Yeah.
Good. We would like you to go back and kind of do a little research and see if we'd gotten any other invoices from CenturyLink on that cattle guard repair. You had told us earlier that you weren't aware of any. As we spoke to Clint earlier, that we got a notice from collection agency that they're wanting to collect their direct administrative costs for that. We don't believe there should be any because we paid the first invoice that we were made aware of. If we'd received any prior invoices that came through your office, we'd like to know that.
Yeah, there were none. In fact, I checked with J&R, and I checked with CenturyLink, and they said, no, this is the only one.
They only sent one out and they're billing us like that?
Yeah, that was the only one.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
There's a Yiddish term for this group is they know called chutzpah. Chutzpah is German for
You got a lot of nerve.
guts. Man,
You got a lot of nerve.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, that's chutzpah.
That's just wrong.
Yeah, that's my point.
They gave us one invoice and it was late, and so they charged us an administrative fee and referred it to a collection agency? Come
And you
on.
can use chutzpah if you'd like to, Clint.
And you know, really,
In quotes.
in the scheme of things, I don't believe CenturyLink is charging us that. That's a JNR
That's their,
charge.
that's right. They referred it to their
KRO
collectors.
charges, J&R hired them,
Yeah.
it's their problem, not mine.
Right.
That's
So,
right. This
Okay,
is-
so you're pretty confident we received one invoice and that's the invoice we used to pay the bill?
Yeah, that's what I was told by both Jane and I, and what I saw come through their office.
You guys always, you get invoices all the time, and you put them in the system and get them paid timely by us. I mean, there's no,
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
got a
that's-
process.
Yeah, the mail
Incident.
gets picked up by the admin assistant. She goes through it, then the invoices get vouchered out. They come across my desk, and I was, I wanted to make sure and do my homework, and make sure that we didn't have any others come through. So that's why I got hold of J&R and I asked them.
That's it for you, dude?
Their office personnel, they sent invoices.
Good.
It's been sent out, so.
That's like a new tax. They could do that on every invoice. Well, I'm just gonna give you an administrative fee, we're billing you.
I think we
Yeah,
should
and that's, I mean,
It's
it's
crazy.
10%.
10% less of their bills. for
Yeah,
you.
we gotta short them.
It's administrative cost for the
Cost for
county.
us.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
We'll get our own administrative costs right back in.
Well, I'm not in favor of paying for that until council advises to do that.
He's taking copious notes
I
there, I
think-
noticed.
We got our answer here today, and I think that maybe we ask council to move forward with that. It's not about the $345 for me, and I know you've said the same thing. You've indicated the same thing. It's the process and concept. I just don't agree with it, so.
It's a significant amount. I mean.
Because the bill's been paid,
Mhm.
the repair bill. We paid that, $2,800.
Mhm.
So,
And we paid that as soon as we got it.
Right.
We didn't waste any time paying.
and then the other thing I wanted to bring up, and it's on our agenda, but you'll probably be gone by then, and that is, we've written a memorandum of understanding with the Saddle Club to get our verbal agreements on paper about the repayment of the water bill.
Okay.
So, when that's, we'll consider that today, and then I'll send you a copy of that as well. We just felt like we needed something on paper versus what we just talked about. So, yeah. And then there's a record on that MOU of the money that has been paid and the remaining balance, so I'll shoot you a copy of that. Good. What else, sir?
So Jeff Othier called me recently, and we talked about South Arts Travel, 386, north of Bill Donnelly's going back west. And it's county road for about 1.7 miles approximately. Anyway, it's a consideration for Forest Service to open that back up to the public, beyond the gates, up to where the Forest Service property is.
Just that top end or the bottom?
Bottom and top, both.
Yeah, he didn't mention
But the big
top.
concern's the bottom.
Yeah, I think so. But anyway, he wanted to know if Road and Bridge would go back to maintaining that. And I told him that I'd visit with you folks about it. But on our end, it requires very little maintenance, so it's not a big deal.
And we are in a written agreement with them, Schedule 1A, to get paid to maintain those roads, the Forest Service, so.
And you got a grader down the bottom end anyway.
Yeah, it's not very far from there, so I mean, you could go up 387 and jump on there and do that work. But yeah, and then there's the snow removal in the winter time. I guess the gates are left open in the winter.
I don't know, it's a good question.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Uthier about this whole thing. We did not talk about winter time.
Yeah, I don't know if they close them. I know some of them get closed.
I know Alpine closes there.
Well, no, over Bedford Creek gets closed.
They probably close it because you're running a risk. You guys get up there and get stuck in a drift.
Some places they leave open to a certain degree so that snowmobilers can use it. But,
Yeah, have to ask them what he intends.
anyway, I don't think it requires much of it.
I'll shoot him an email right now and ask him about that. So you, on the surface anyway, don't have a big issue about going back to maintaining the top and bottom end of that?
No, and then I talked to Larry and Kevin and got their thoughts, and they didn't have a problem with it either. So, and he said it's not a done deal anyway. It's in
Right.
preliminary stages to possibly open it back.
Yeah, and he was hoping for us to be able to make a decision at our March 29th meeting. So, I'll ask him about keeping it open year round or just maintain it during the summer. And then hopefully I think it's already, I think I've requested that to be on the agenda, but if not, I will, the decision, consideration of that request from Forest Service, and he was gonna try to get us some more information, and, so if you wanna be part of that conversation on the 29th, you'd be more than welcome to come in. And I'll get an answer about snow removal.
Okay.
And the plane got landed at the airport yesterday.
Did they get in?
Yeah. I went down there and checked the runway once it got cleared, and it looked safe to me.
I'm surprised it came in in so crappy weather.
Yeah. Pretty good size
Just
plane.
about.
Is that Dave wants?
No, it was somebody from another state wanted to land here and was trying to check what the weather was. Called was the airport open, and so he's called in wanting to land.
Yeah.
Had to delay him a couple hours.
Yeah. And then Dave Thompson got a hold of me here a few weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago too. And he had kind of an unusual question for me, and it had to do with an insurance services office's rating for the county. It has to do with homeowners insurance and rating. And what his question was is because of some things that they were taking care of paperwork-wise for the insurance offices, if it would be a possibility to borrow one of our water trucks and park in the firehouse for 8 weeks or so. And in doing this, it would help to lower the ISO rating for homeowners within 5 miles of driving distance from the firehouse. Like one of them's Rosita Road, the other one's Bone Road.
Why 8 weeks only?
Because in the meantime, in that 8-week period, they're going to be on the hunt for a tender of their own to permanently park in the firehouse.
Because it's just a loan until they acquire their own?
Exactly.
One-time deal.
It's a one-time deal, and then what it involves in is it get parked there, and then it would be highly unlikely that it would be needed for a fire run, but if it was, it would it'd have to be a road and bridge department employee that drove that truck. It couldn't be anybody else, like with the fire department or whatever. So anyway, go ahead, Jay.
I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you, I apologize. Would that be taking a water tender out of service that you would be using?
Well, and that's the thing I told Tomsing. I said the only reason it would be a consideration is because of the time of year that it is and the lack of demand on our water trucks.
When did they want it?
As soon as they could get it, honestly.
Like now?
And I said if it should happen to be requested later on in the summer or spring or whatever, I said it's not even consideration. We're using them too much. So I said this is something that I would have to take in front of the board and actually you guys and get your thoughts on it.
Were they interested in paying for this, or is this something we're doing for free?
Who is it exactly? I know it's Townsend, but for what?
It's for
what
in
is
fact, I had Dave send this to me, so you folks have got some specifics on this. So just kind of briefly outline what he was talking about.
So it's temporary for the Silver Cliff and Road and Bridge.
Well, I guess Silver Cliff, they have two different firehouses that need the tender temporarily, and Silver Cliff is going to donate one for this 8-week period or whatever it's going to be.
Oh, I see.
You know, yeah. And because of conflict of interest, because of my geographic location from the Rosita Firehouse, I don't want to. I wanted what I will do is present the details, the specifics. But see, I live within a 5-mile driven radius of that Rosita Firehouse, so I don't think that I should have an opinion one way or the other, because it would affect my insurance.
So who's buying the water truck? The fire department?
I guess so.
Okay, so it's a request for us as a county to help the fire department.
Mhm. Yeah. To get this pushed through, and it sounds like they've got a deadline to get it done, or else it's just gonna go away.
And if we don't do it, it just is a matter of cost, is that what it is?
A cost, for the, insurance rates, instead of, going down, they'll just stay where they're at.
So, but they would go down in 8 months from now, once they get a water truck of their own. Is that what?
Well, actually, I think they reflect this, decrease in cost almost immediately.
So,
I mean, the one
so we're
I'm
just
looking
talking
for-
about lowering the cost for everybody for 8 months.
Well, from here on out, actually, because once they get this.
Yeah, but once they get it themselves, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get a feel for what we're being asked.
Exactly.
And it's
Well,
not
you
gonna
said 8
change.
weeks or 8 months,
8 weeks that it would take for them to get a truck located.
so it's a very short term.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
short. Because, it would have to be, because, once the 8 weeks is up, we're gonna start using those that one water truck.
So it changes everybody's insurance policy costs.
Within a 5-mile driven radius of that firehouse.
So we're helping out the citizens here if we do it.
Well, in essence, the end result would be.
Sure.
Mr. Prince, comments?
I do, but I first want to say on the record, I believe I live within 5 miles of that station, so
We can't listen to you either.
that's a concern.
You and Gary.
That's a concern for me. But let me give you some thoughts, and, I just want to put on the record that I heard prior to this meeting that there was a request for tenders. I didn't realize it was for a very short-term period. I was under the impression it was going to be on a permanent basis, and I had a negative connotation to that, because I thought we have a road and bridge we need to worry about. The fire department just got a new mill levy, they need to solve their own problem, but I'm hearing now that that's exactly what they want to do. They just want to borrow us till they're able to accomplish that. But I guess my question is, these are the kind of things that they say, we're going to do it for 8 weeks, and 12 weeks down the road, where's your water tender? And they go, oh, well, we're still researching, we haven't found the right one. That's the kind of thing I'm concerned about. So, just throw out on the table, and maybe I shouldn't even be saying I'm in favor of this, because it does affect me directly, but I'm not opposed to this, but I would like to say that at the end of 8 weeks, there'll be a cost of X amount of dollars, or at the end of 8 weeks, we have a written agreement that says you're going to take your water hauler away. And I'm just concerned that this is going to be a long-term process.
Or if you have to have the truck, you gotta have it. You can't not do your road and bridge job.
Exactly, there would have to be a deadline, or I wouldn't.
Written deadline.
Yes, exactly.
What I would suggest, if this is something you wanna do, is we have a short-term IGA, intergovernmental
That's
agreement,
what I was thinking.
that makes it very clear what date, because they want it right away, so as soon as we get something agreed to, and have a definite date that it'll terminate.
Can you do it between now and tomorrow?
I can.
And honestly, my thoughts were, if you folks were in favor of this, or wanted to go ahead with it, I'm not real fond of the idea of one of our new water trucks sitting off in the distance away from our home location. So what I would do is I'd take one of our new ones down here to Wetmore and grab their old hand-me-down and park that in there.
And it would fit.
It wouldn't fit in Rosita without modifying the stack on it. It would have to be cut down about 5 or 6 inches.
On the old truck?
Yeah,
Really?
because of the height of the door on the building. We're 10'5" on our exhaust on straight line water truck that's down in Wetmore. The only other thing the person could do is, it's got a taller door in Boneyard Park. You could park it over there and, put the silver
That's the
cup
thing
water
to do. I
truck in.
wouldn't cut this.
No, I'm not in favor of modifying our truck.
And so you're thinking this would be at the Rosita station, not Boneyard, is that correct?
Because of the height of the door, it would be in Boneyard and not
And then
Rosita.
move the other one up.
Now, there is an advantage in it being in Boneyard, because one of our employees lives like a mile and a half from that Boneyard firehouse, so, and I think he would be agreeable to operating that truck should there happen to be a fire, a structure fire in that 8-week period, so.
Well, I'm not in favor of it at all. I get it that the fire department's making a run at us for the benefit of the citizens. This isn't a county issue, this is a fire department issue. In my opinion, I think, as Commissioner Prince just said, they just got a mill levy for the taxpayers of this county to pay to supposedly increase the services to the county. So, put your money where your mouth is. Here's a chance for you to increase your services as a fire department to the county. So go out and find a tender and park it.
Having said that, Tom, my thoughts were, I'm trying to see both sides of this. If they've got the funds, this time of year, water trucks are not in big demand from places like Wagner and these rental companies. There's always the possibility that they'll rent one too. So, and that would leave us out of the picture, and they'd still get what they need. So,
It's an excellent point. I mean, they could just go lease one until they can finally purchase it they need to.
They sure could.
That hadn't crossed my mind, but it's an interesting concept.
so anyways, thought I'd throw that.
Yeah, I just don't think I can support this myself.
I tend to agree with you, Tom, but I'd hate to be asking the fire department for a favor in the future. And I look at it from a point of view of the taxpayers already spent the money, and they should be ponying up and getting the right equipment. And here's an opportunity for the county to help the taxpayer. Because if they go rent it, they're going to waste some of the money they would use. I don't know why they should have had it lined up in the first place to get it done immediately. Why didn't they do that in the first place?
I just don't believe it's the county's responsibility to help the taxpayer with their insurance rates when it comes to fire. That's what we've got a fire department for. So, my 2 cents, yes, sir.
But on the other hand, our charge is to help the citizens of this county. There's multiple ways of helping citizens of this county, and one of them I could look at, we have a direct impact on their insurance costs. That's positive for our constituency. My feeling is, if it's not any hardship on road and bridge, my feeling is that if it's parked at Wetmore, if it's parked at Boneyard, provided that if road and bridge needs it, it is performing a service to our citizens. It is giving the fire department an opportunity to do what they need to do on a very short-term basis. We often swap things between different agencies in the county. Now, I recognize the fire department's a separate taxing interest, but you loan trucks to the landfill, and these kind of things happen all the time for the benefit of the citizens. So I'm not quite as staunch as you are, Mr. Chairman. I could support this on a short-term basis, provided it has no negative impact on our road and bridge.
Well, what do we want to do? We have to vote on this now, or what are we gonna do?
Well, it's not an agenda item, so we really shouldn't be voting on it today.
We got to talk about it.
We shouldn't vote on it tomorrow because we're way past the 24-hour notice.
Although, what is their deadline? When do they need to do this?
Without talking to Dave Tom's, I'm not sure.
Because we don't know if it can wait till the next meeting or if it needs to be done.
I'm not sure with that.
So I think
Well,
there's a provision.
we don't need to jump through hoops here, I don't think.
Well, I
It
understand
could
that.
come soon.
I understand, but there is a provision that if something needs to be done for legitimate reasons, we have a right to go off and make a vote separate to that. I don't feel this is gonna have any great impact either way, whether we do it or don't do it. But I think, I'm just short-term, if they're able to see if it makes sense to me, I'm not opposed to it.
I would guess it would be the fire department coming to us to make a request with your blessing or without your blessing. I don't know how that works. I don't know that
I really care what you tell me. I mean, they can come make the request, but I want you to I mean, and you have said it, I'm just saying, my rationale is that your feeling is short-term, you could live without it.
I could, and that's not an exaggeration of the truth. I mean, it's just basically because of the time of the year. You know, if I'd had to do it all over again, as soon as he approached me, I would have just directed him towards the commissioners and said, go talk to them. You know, this
That's
is
his
where-
problem, he ought to be here.
Yeah, I wished I'd have done that because I
Or
mean,
Kit should have been.
honestly,
here.
I've got enough to worry about without taking something like this on.
But I'll tell you what, if his example is right, I mean, it's $1,000 a year difference. That's
Well, that was for
that's a rancher.
somewhere in
policy.
southern Colorado, doesn't.
So I don't know what the impact totally is, but it's
Yeah.
probably significant.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I just, again, I stated it.
It's up to you, I mean, and whether you
Well,
want to call for a vote or we just.
I don't feel comfortable voting on today because it wasn't on the agenda.
I think that's fine.
So if
yeah, I'd
they,
get him in here.
I would say that they probably need to call and request to be on the agenda if that's what they want to do, and come in and present the case, and we go from there.
Right.
I agree.
But it would be, your intent that it would be parked at Rosita?
No, because of
I mean, because of the stack or not fitting?
yeah.
So where would it be parked then?
The firehouse on County Road 265, which is
Okay, all
They
right.
gave both as an option that would be viable. Is that what they're
Yeah,
saying?
and because of the height of the door.
Bring it in.
Well, my reason for asking was because Jade was gonna disqualify himself
And that's
from
why,
voting if it was.
once I heard it was going to
Because
Bonnier,
then
I
I
felt it
see
was okay.
sort of, you know, 1 and 1 and, you know,
True.
an abstention and,
If you disagree, please
No,
tell
no,
me.
no,
I mean,
that's
Since
fine.
it moved
If it-
away from where it affected me directly, I felt it was okay
so
for
I
you to
don't see
discuss.
that, I don't see where you'd have to disqualify yourself from voting on it then.
That's what I'm
Do a
saying.
whole-
Go talk to them, Gary, and
Mhm.
have them come back. The latest they can do it would be, Wetmore meeting, or are we going to Wetmore this month?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Good idea.
20th again, I think, is
So that's 10 days away.
And in the future, if something like this comes up again, I'm just going to direct it to the.
we're not throwing you under the bus, Gary. You know, we have concerns and
Sure,
I
and I-
appreciate you taking this on.
Well, you would have had to have been a witness to verify you could get rid of the truck anyway.
Well, that's what
So that's
I mean,
okay. You
Well,
wasn't-
certainly, we wouldn't have done it without his
No,
input.
that's right.
So.
Correct.
You'd have been involved one way or the other.
Yeah, at a different capacity.
And yeah, we do meet in Wetmore on the 20th at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to run by you, if you don't mind, real quick. I would like to request that these 2 sheriff vehicles, once the sheriff's department has pulled the radios out of them, that we could send them to the shop down at Road and Bridge and have the decals and whatever, the light bars, whatever else taken off of those, so that we can move those down to the airport.
Sure.
Is that a problem? Okay.
Who takes the radios out? Shannon or?
Shannon's gonna, his people will take the radios
That's
out.
what I thought.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's any cages in there. I looked at the vehicles, but I didn't really pay attention. So if that would be reasonable request from you, or to you from us.
Check them out, but you got
Pardon?
check the vehicles out, but you gotta make sure
Yeah,
they're roadworthy.
I'll mention that to them.
They should be.
Yeah, report to me on any
Okay.
issues they may find with
Okay.
them, so.
Good. Yeah, so we will follow up with Shannon Byerly and have him let us know when the radios are out, and then we'll holler and
Okay.
we can get them down there, hopefully before everybody gets busy this spring and summer.
It's gonna be real busy this spring, so we've got a lot of work planned.
Okay, well, hopefully maybe the next couple of weeks we can get that done. I'll
That'd be-
lean on the sheriff.
Yeah, that'd be a good time to get
Okay.
to hopefully
Perfect.
spring is over.
Good. Anything else,
Not for me.
gentlemen?
No.
Okay, sir, thank you. Appreciate you coming in. Have a great day.
Thanks, Gary.
You guys too. See you, Clint. Take care.
Folks, did you tolerate about a 3-minute bathroom break? know.
I don't care.
Stay right where you are.
It's not for your benefit, it's for
Well, I
theirs.
don't know, they're talking about it, I'm gonna go, what the heck?
General consent, then
Might
we'll
as
be
well.
in recess
I'll
for
be
3
right
weeks.
back.
Thank you.
So, I felt a lot different about the fire thing.
did notice that. As soon as we get our recording, I'll call the meeting back to order and we'll move on. Commissioner order will come back to, Commissioner meeting will come back to order. Next item of business, staff report from Department of Human Services.
Oh, boy. Oh,
Up there. How's that? Now
The
it's,
weather down here
Now
is
it's
better than
official.
up there.
Oh, is it?
okay?
Because-
Yes,
yeah.
I just wanted you to know
Right,
that.
yeah.
you know,
There's
so-
not much oxygen up high.
Yeah, that could be, I don't
Yeah.
know.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Good.
I'm all right. We're hanging in there.
Good, good.
We're getting our new caseworker on April 1st.
Nice.
So we're getting ready for that. We're trying to figure out stuff. Yeah. Yes, and she was a person I just saw, so I needed her to sign something, so that
Oh.
worked out great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and I had offered yesterday to help them if they need some partitions built or whatever in there to accommodate another office, so we'll see how that all goes.
When does she start?
April 1st.
She's graduating college towards the end of this month, that's why it's.
17
2 weeks.
Yeah, and then she'll have the degree, and then, so that works great, and then we'll start her around April 1st, going to all of the training that we require and stuff, so it's just gonna, it's flowing, so. And she's here, and she's, yeah, so, yeah, we're excited, she's excited, so. We're hoping. Hoping. And then, yeah, sometime today, Tom, we wanna talk to you about that wall, Stacy's wall.
A hole.
Yeah, I don't know, I think that needs to be, I do, but we'll talk about
You
it.
can have that conversation.
I know. Okay, so, here we are with this first one,
Yeah.
and that's just, I mean, we're starting in January, and so everything is just fine and dandy, so not too much to talk about on there, but it's there, if you have any questions or anything. And I had to go through and change all of the dates and everything, and I'm like, gosh, I hope I didn't miss any of them. And then I went and changed one of them, I'm like, oh no, that one stays because we're not in that year, so. Anyhow. You guys, see, you're bad.
Well, she was late coming in, so she missed it.
I know, I had to show they sent me a picture of my grandson in his pajamas with his big old football helmet on with a football, and he's running and he's getting ready to go, and he's 2, you know. So you have to look at those things when they come down.
Right.
So, and then, okay, and then old age pension, we're staying about the same. You guys can't tell because we're in a new year, so we really don't. LEAP is one of the ones where we did November, December, and then
Right.
we'll back up for January. We had our, in February you'll show more because that'll be our second payment for some people, so that'll be a bigger payment out there. We've been statewide, they've been down on LEAP applications, and we're seeing, we haven't had as many as we did last year at this time when I was doing these reports and Rhonda and I were talking about it. They're sending out cards statewide to people who were on last year that haven't applied to remind them to come in to apply. We also, Rhonda went through and looked at some of the people that usually do and sent them out a notice, so we'll see what happens. And you would think, because this has been a cold winter with a lot of snow, we expected to have more in than, but we had a gal came in yesterday and wanted to know when her leaf was gonna kick in, and I'm thinking, I don't remember you applying, and we looked and she hadn't applied, and she goes, yes, I did. And we said, no, you applied last year. And she goes, well, I could have sworn I brought that in. Well, no, you didn't, so here, fill this out and get it back to us, so, stuff like that.
And employment figures, do they drive any of this at all? I mean, or
Yeah,
unemployment figures as the case
Well, like
may
in
be?
the winter time, we see more, for food benefits and that type of stuff, we see more people in because they're not able to work as much because of the weather. So we have some people come in that we see in the winter time that drop off in the summertime. So we do see that. And what we're seeing is a very strange thing. We get calls from people that are moving here all the time. I just moved here and I'm looking for work and I don't have a place to live, and I'm just like, I don't know why
Jeez, they
you
need to think about that before they get here.
That's what I think, you know?
Crazy.
It's not what I do.
Why do they come here?
I know, I just don't understand it, so, but anyhow, we deal with that.
Hey, that Medicaid transportation,
Uh-huh.
you get a lot of that?
We got a fair amount of them, and that's anybody that.
Where's it go? From here to where? Just locally, or do you?
No, Canyon, Pueblo.
Is that right?
Yeah, Salida, Florence, we even go Colorado Springs.
So I had somebody asking me about that.
Yeah, we'll go to, we don't do it, but if they have to go to any place where Medicaid will pay, we don't go out of state, obviously, 'cause Medicaid doesn't pay out of state. But any place in the state that they're going for medical treatment that Medicaid will pay, we can reimburse them for that.
Okay, so they do it and they get reimbursed. You have the forms to fill
We
out,
have
so I
the-
can direct them to you.
Oh, yes, they come in, they fill out a form, we get all of this information, Rotary uses it. If Rotary takes people down that are going to doctors, then we
That'd be the
reimburse.
best way to do it.
Yeah, and then we reimburse Rotary. And so it's a win situation for Rotary, and it's a win situation for these people, and so.
Good.
But yeah, some months we have more, some months we don't have as many, it just depends, but yeah. So, yeah.
So is that
it's-
a budget line or is that a grant?
It's,
What is it?
it's actually just a pass-through. We don't budget for, I budget for it just in case it
Does
takes
it
a while.
limit you to
get-
the $800, or if it goes over, you get it?
We get it, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we just, because it's just a pass-through. We pay it out, and then we send in reimbursement, and they reimburse it for us. We've got a new system, which is really nice. It wasn't so much when they were bringing it up, but anyhow, we can actually, if we're not sure if Medicaid's gonna actually reimburse us for that, we'll submit it before we write the check, so that we know that we're gonna get reimbursed, because sometimes that would happen. We would think that we're gonna get reimbursed, and then there would be some crazy little thing, and Medicaid wouldn't reimburse us. Well, now we can submit it to them for reimbursement ahead of time, then we know, and then we can write the check. So, we shouldn't see a problem with that, but I do budget some in there, just in case something happens along the
That's
line.
good to know.
Because we wanna make sure we've got something in there. When we transferred to the new system, we had a few months where nobody was getting paid. Doctors weren't getting paid, hospitals weren't getting paid, so yeah, but it's working now, so it's good. And then our,
Careful if you don't pay CenturyLink on time. Sorry.
oh, okay,
We had a little problem with that earlier.
I'll bet, yeah, I'll bet, okay. In CSVG, I just got some new money, they're hoping to get more, because that's our allocation for right now, but we'll see. She was up in February and did a review and said that they're hoping to they should get more money, and then they'll pass it on to us, so we'll see what happens with that. I had, I think, close to 7,000 last year, and we used all that, like a couple $100 on that, so, and that's the one we used for rent and utilities and stuff like that. And Energy Outreach Colorado, that's our grant that we put in, and we're still plugging along with that, so there's nothing there, and we don't contribute anything to that, that's just totally, I have my paper upside down here, I think. Oh, I snapped it together, not that you people don't care. But, okay, and then the food assistance, since it's a new month, a new year, we're just pretty much the same, no problems there. And then TFAB, we're not getting a whole lot of product right now, winter months, I guess, I don't know. But, I don't know what determines what they get and where it comes from and how. But they wanted to bring fresh milk, and I'm like, we can't move fresh milk in that short period of time, and I don't have enough refrigeration to do that anyhow. So, that's what I have. I don't have any major things going on right now. Thank you, that would be nice. There are something with the daycare allocation, and that seems to be a big deal, although not for us. Some of the small counties, larger counties are losing funds, and they're going to the small counties, since it's kind of got some people up in arms, but they're just redoing it, and so we have stuff going back and forth, and so I'm not sure what they're gonna do with it yet, so, but it's really not gonna affect us that much, so we're okay on that, so. Aside of that, I don't have anything gonna knock us off of our rockers here, okay? Anybody have any questions? Then I'm gonna have it.
Good.
Okay.
All right, thank you,
All
ma'am,
right.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Oh, see, look at that, I saw you with that.
Thanks, Laura.
All right, see you guys later.
We'll plug that hole up.
Well, it's plugged. Yeah, it's plugged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We repaired it.
We repair, yeah.
All right, I'll come down, thank you.
Okay, yeah, just anytime, thanks.
Next item of business. IT, hello
Good
sir,
morning.
how are you?
Good morning.
Vern, go, you look like a French artist today. Tall French artist.
Wait till I start wearing my kilt. Then we'll have to reevaluate.
I'll be worried about that.
We had, our previous maintenance gentleman used to
Yes.
work and
Yes,
play the
indeed.
bagpipes. He was very cool.
Yes, indeed.
Not at a commissioners meeting though.
No.
I
He left his
don't,
bagpipes at home.
I don't wear the tartans. I wear American-made kilts, utility kilts, solid black, that type of thing. Yep, you can tell a kilt, that type of thing. So, yeah. I even have a digital camouflage one that I made myself. It was supposed to be for playing paintball, but it turned out to be too nice, so I didn't.
I'm beginning to wonder about him now.
How's things in the IT world? Just random thought.
Right. Oh, what an interesting idea.
Now we
Staff
got your
report.
artwork figured out. Thanks, Meredith.
It's been a fairly uneventful month. Did do some major computer replacement in the treasurer's office. One thing that I didn't put down there in the projects completed was establishing a new Wi-Fi system for the sheriff. And let's see, I did get the in-cartel system installed. The in-cartel system is a pretty cool little system that we installed over there at the sheriff's office that allows inmates' families to purchase things for them, and they can put in a request and they can purchase things like candy bars and stuff like that. And it doesn't cost us any money. That goes through this in-cartel system. Oh, and video visitation as well, so that we don't have visitors going in. There will be video visitation that they pay for and establish. And
So they can call in from anywhere.
Exactly. It's a nice system. We got that installed, and it seems to be working well.
Who paid for the system?
I believe, from what I heard, the system pays for itself through their usage. I don't think that there was
No,
an
the
install.
users pay for it, so there wasn't an install.
I don't
fee.
believe
Okay,
so, yeah.
thanks. That's what I was wondering.
That was basically, my side of it was to run cabling and whatnot and give them the proper ports in the router system, so. Ongoing projects right now, still working on the high-speed wireless to the SAR and the VSO. That should be done by the end of this next week. The high-speed internet to the clinic, that hit a snag because I went in to hook it up and nothing is labeled. It took me 4 hours to find where I can actually, yes, it was quite interesting. None of their ports were labeled. 100, 200 data ports, and not a single one was labeled. Plug in? No. Plug in? No. Didn't work. It was fun. That should be done by the end of this week, though. Computer replacement for the assessor's office. 5 new computers that we bought last year. I'll be installing those over the next 3 months or so. Excuse me. And then, as I've talked about before, the replacement for Windows 7, just putting Windows 10 on everybody's computer, and possibly replacing more computers in other locations. That's about it. The future projects we've talked about. I've actually started gathering data points for the Justice Center IT infrastructure, what we'll need for that. And I've heard about the possibility of grants for new IT infrastructure. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be 5 years down the road. Technology will be different, but I don't think Cat5 cables are changing much. The work that we are doing with the high-speed wireless, though, is going to be essential because a lot of these systems are going to be on a wireless network, and so we'll be able to adapt what we've learned from this process over to the new one. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to head out to the airport today, right after we're done here, and work on that project that we talked about with the camera. And that's where I'm at right now. Yes, sir.
Remind me of the camera project.
The camera out at the airport is sending data to the wrong place now. There's a server changeover. I need to change the address that it sends the data to.
Can't see it on the website.
Yeah.
They dead-ended it into a defunct one.
Okay.
Is somebody gonna meet you there, or do you
I
have codes?
have keys and codes, so.
Forgive me, I was looking for your document, so I may have missed this, but, high speed to the clinic.
High speed to the clinic is in process. That was the issue that there were no labels on data ports. So I had to wait until there were people there so that I could unplug computer lines and test where the data was flowing. But it'll be done by the end of this week.
So, in essence then, the county would be supplying the clinic with
High-speed internet, yes.
broadband
Mm-hmm.
capability
Yes.
at no charge for right now.
Right. I don't have control over how that is distributed. I have programmed in a speed limit so that their data doesn't drag us down, but they'll still Bert just suicided into
Yeah.
so that they won't drag us down, but they'll still have about 10 times the speed that they're using right now.
And the CenturyLink charges, and they charge us a fee, don't they?
Yes.
So our high-speed internet costs in the neighborhood of $1,000 a month right now. The clinic, because of the brokerage the brokerage firm that they signed a contract with many years ago, before even the previous administration worked there, actually charges them $600 a month for 4 megabytes up and 4 megabytes down. I know it's a rape. On top of that, they're actually charged a subscription fee to this brokerage company. I know. I don't understand.
Can't they get out of it?
They are out of it as of June. It expires. Now, half of that is supposed to be paid for by grants, so the out-of-pocket outlay is somewhere in the neighborhood of $430 or $340 a month, for the clinic. However, the grant people decided that it was a horrible deal, and they stopped paying. And now the company is now suing the clinic for that cost that was not paid for by the grants. So they are in a position where they desperately need this.
So I want to make clear that we're talking two entities over there: public health, which is our responsibility, and the clinic,
Right.
which is a totally different scenario.
With public health, I've created a micro network between their laptops and a hard drive backing up their laptops. I have their last laptop in my office right now, finishing the installations and all that for them. They will be entirely separate from the clinic. Up until this point, they have been entirely dependent upon the clinic and their internet speeds, which has really limited their ability to do any type of video conferencing and really do their work effectively. At this point in time, at this stage of the game in the world, 4 megabytes is just not enough for anyone to do their job efficiently. So in that process, I've actually created a cloud network. They can share documents back and forth wherever they go in the world. They are a self-contained, public health is a self-contained entity now, operating off of our high-speed internet. The process is just simply to connect them. I've worked with the clinic's IT people, their server people, to make certain that we can get through their firewalls and they can communicate properly, and that doesn't seem to be an issue now. So like I said, it should be done by the end of this week into the clinic itself. Public health is operating autonomously right now.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. The service we're providing to the clinic, not to our, is that going to have any detrimental effect on the rest of the county?
It's not going to drag our speeds down. Like I said, I've put a speed limit on the lake going to them, so that they don't drag us down if they start using up bandwidth.
Throttle.
Right. Exactly.
My conversation with Vernon was basically this, although we didn't talk about this particular thing I'm going to mention, is that when we entered into a lease agreement with the clinic, it was with the understanding that, hey, The clinic's providing the heat, the office, the technology, the whatever. Well, now they're not providing the technology. We're providing that ourselves. And in addition to that, providing 10 times more capability than they had before. So I think eventually, I'm not in this big panic about, boy, if they're getting 40 megs up and down starting Monday, we need to negotiate and enter into a contract with them. I get it that they're in the toilet right now as far as dealing with this company that has been brokering their internet service, but I think at some point in the near future, we probably need to have a conversation with the clinic and say, hey, let's reevaluate. If you have determined that there's value in the 40 megs you're getting from the county, then let's talk about what that's worth to you. That's my thought.
I want to concur completely with you, but I just want to throw it on the table. I just don't want to forget, for the longest time, they allowed our public health nurse to stay in their clinic at no cost. So helping them through this transition, I concur with you completely. I don't think we need to be hard with them. At some point, they need to carry their own weight, but I think that should certainly be after they're done with their contract and their issues are resolved, then we can sit down and talk about it.
We also got them to pay their fair share on some other things, didn't we, SAR stuff.
Right.
We have a new agreement.
But I just
They
don't
hadn't
want,
been paying
I just
on
don't
it, now
want to
they
forget
are.
that they gave us.
With the clinic, yeah.
The radios, radio communication, they weren't
Clinic
paying
wasn't
the
paying.
upkeep of the radio towers that they were using.
That's right.
But they did.
That was
But now they are.
Yeah, they did
That
work
was their
that out.
share.
Yeah, they
Right.
should have been,
Yeah.
now they
So I
are.
understand what you're saying, yes.
You had a question?
I just wonder at perhaps a conflict between the way you're interacting with the clinic and not doing the fire department a favor. Just an observation.
Okay. Good point. I think we
You
fully
wanna fight our own.
intend to request, I think we intend as commissioners to request payment for the internet service we're providing them. I'm just saying, I don't think it has to be right today,
And I was concurring with that.
but it's a good point.
Maybe after their contract expires, then a renegotiation at that point when they're in a better place and understand the actual benefits going on.
Unless they got a better deal somewhere else.
You know, unless they
Their
ran
choice.
fiber over
They
there.
don't have to take it, they don't have to take it from us.
Yes. There's always CCOM, but I get notifications every day about the difficulties of CCOM, so it's a possibility.
Okay, good. Well, thank you for looking forward, thinking on the Justice Center. That will become a big question at some point, so
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah.
Anything else, sir?
If you want to leave your computer with me tomorrow after I can work on that sticky keys. So.
Perfect, thank you.
All right.
All right.
Be well.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yep.
What does the fire department have?
The fire department has a CenturyLink DSL connection. I would have to do some research and see if I could beam
But
over
they
there.
got, with their upgrading, I bet they got. Find
I'll,
out.
I'll find out. I'll definitely find out. Our shop right next door to the fire department. We have a Hilltop wireless, and we have a CenturyLink DSL. That one costs us $130 a month, and I don't know the cost of the Hilltop wireless. They're pretty slow speed. It's not like I could send that over to the fire department effectively at all. So,
Thank you.
all right,
Thanks.
Appreciate
Be
it.
well.
Good morning, sir.
What do you want here?
Good morning, Roger. How are you, sir? Good to see you.
How are you?
Thank you for your patience. I know we're clearly behind schedule. We're gaining a little, but not fast enough, so thank you. How are you?
Good, doing well.
Yeah.
I have to say that it's been a real pleasure so far.
to step in temporarily like this. Really rewarding experience for me to see so many veterans pull in that door and call on so much. I think I had 60 contacts in February, which is far more than I expected. I thought in January, well, a little bit of backlog with Tim being out so much, but it's just kept right up. So it looks like you guys have a really viable operation over there that someone's going to be able to step into and just have a clientele sitting there waiting for them. So it's very nice to see.
They all interested in the new guy coming in?
They are. Lots of questions. Lots of questions. And I think that I've been, telling them that we're going to try to get someone younger than me in there. And they all seem excited about having somebody who will stay, who will be around.
Good.
The county will see their face for a number of years. So there's the report that we sent to the Colorado Division of Veterans Affairs. That's just a copy for you guys there. Like I said, we've really been impressed with the sheer number of people. So that'll make CDVA happy too.
Well, thank you for what you have been doing on our behalf. We appreciate that. Shouldn't go without saying. But
yeah, it's been very enjoyable. I wanted to also share with you that really we've got 3 things besides that I wanted to share with you. We've got that wall we're intending to put up over there to separate that back part of the kitchen area from what is really now kind of a community meeting room. And I think that's going to be a valuable addition. Tom, you and I have talked about that quite a bit. One of the things that is, well, in fact, today, this afternoon, one of the psychotherapists from the vet center in Pueblo is coming up. I know this gentleman, known him for years. Nick Beagle and I have convinced him to come down to Werfenau County on a regular basis. I'm trying to get the same thing done here. And if in fact we can gain a sense of privacy in that space, that the room that the wall is going to create would provide John a place.
nice, good,
Right.
good. Because you could always close your office
Right.
door.
My door will shut.
That would be nice. So we're going to gain another conference room.
Right, that's right. So I think that would be a real good use of that space.
And can I interject here, sir, if you don't mind? I just wanted to give the commissioners an update. I'm estimating that project for that wall, a door and a window, sheet rocked on both sides, taped, finished, and painted, probably around $400. Jeremy Handy's given me a quote for a door. It's just a hollow core Lujan door, nothing real fancy, but lock set on it. So I would like, by consensus, to know whether we should move forward on that. I didn't want to do it without knowing the dollar figure. But
How do we get the coroner in and out of there?
you'll be able to go through that
Same door?
Yeah.
So it could interrupt.
I think the only time that door would be locked would be as if there was something going on in there.
Right.
Normally it would not be
Yeah.
locked. It will be lockable, but
Right. Wouldn't be much cause for locking anything if he wasn't in session. And so,
Just out of curiosity, would this come out of building and maintenance?
yes.
I think it's a great idea. I'm pleased and I wholeheartedly support this.
Yeah, that I think's fine.
Okay, good. So we'll move forward with that, Chris. I talked to Chris about that. He says, I'm certainly not a carpenter, but I'd love to work with you and learn about that. So it'd be a good project for the two of us to work on. So I'll move forward with that. And I've spoken with Roger about the location of the door itself. We're going to put the door kind of to the right-hand side, and then that leaves a window space that he can have visual.
as you can see the front door, if there's a window properly placed.
If we put the door in the middle, then it's going to kick the window off over too far to the left. So we'll move forward with that and continue to
Makes sense.
work with that.
And then lastly, I think last month I spoke to you guys about or maybe it was just you, Tom, considering seeing a couple of candidates. We were originally going to see them in February for the position, and that didn't work out. I was a little disappointed that I wouldn't be able to take the guy to
Right.
upcoming training in
Right.
Pueblo. Well, as luck would have it, that's been moved back.
No
so I'm gonna
way,
be able
oh
to
my
take
Government.
it.
Well, good.
So now it is
So-
in April.
Oh, okay, so good chance.
Yeah, I'll be going anyway, because that's just part of what I do in Worthington County as well.
Sure.
Whether I'm still involved with the new guy or not, so, but I can certainly,
If you can keep us in the loop, make sure our new person gets there, that'd be huge.
yeah, we'll do that, and, because it's real important, because this is about the biggest change in VA benefits management in decades, which is the AMA, the Appeals Modernization Act by Congress that really alters how one goes about making an appeal after your claim has been denied. So it's a big,
Good.
for us
Yeah.
it's big stuff, so
That'd
it'll
be
be
nice.
really important for me to attend.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and I'll move that we accept the February 2019 Colorado Department of Military and Veteran Affairs County Veteran Services Office monthly report and certification of pay for Custer County.
Second.
Moved and seconded, authorize and approve the February report for VSO. Discussion. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. I will sign that.
You have any problem with the weather getting in and out of here?
I did on 2 occasions back in January.
Did it slow down the custom base?
No, you had no.
Most of them are around here, they got to you anyway.
Most of them know how to get here. They've got vehicles that can do it. So I had a couple of elderly widows or spouses who had to postpone. But other than that, good. Fine.
Anything else, sir? Question?
When are you interviewing?
Tomorrow. Yep, 6th, 1 o'clock, 1 to 3. And then we are actually gonna have a meeting, commissioner meeting tomorrow afternoon at 3, and we will
It's on the calendar.
make a selection of the new VSO officer. That's the plan.
And 1 in the morning.
We're having one in the morning, yes. Regular BOCC in the morning, and then we're
We're
having.
doing afternoon
Special.
interviews
And then a special meeting after.
to select.
Will that be recorded?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a real meeting.
Yeah, the only item, agenda item on that agenda is the hiring of a new VSO officer. All right, sir, thank you, appreciate it, always good to see you.
Good to see you guys.
Thanks for
Mhm.
Have a great day, thank you
Uh-huh.
for your patience, I know,
Not a problem.
got other things to be doing, so I'm sitting in here, take care, have a good day.
Sorry, this is my bad. I was working on the grant.
Pardon,
Nothing?
Oh.
We're good.
were you on the phone upstairs?
Yeah, I'm trying to call.
Think that's her running around up there?
Probably.
You're running down
There
the
was some
steps.
stomping going on, wasn't there?
Dancing lessons?
I was afraid a couple people might have come in to visit her this morning.
At first I thought it was kids, but it sounded heavier than kids.
I'm ruling out Charlie French though, as fast as
Or
her.
you have to call into for an extension. It's 126, but is that all you have to press for it?
No, you press that, when you pick it up, there's a light on the right. Press that and then 126.
What?
There.
Am I in trouble?
Ready?
No. I want you to be, but you're not.
Hey, we're ready for you.
Well, you should be in trouble, but you're not.
Well, I'm normally in trouble, so yeah.
I don't like having my feet held to the fire and have to be accountable.
Well, darn. Told you.
I know you did. I know you did. And while we are, come forward, ma'am, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Guinevere, nice to see you. Thank you for coming down. appreciate it. I know we're behind schedule,
That's
so
okay.
apologize.
It's nice to have the phone call.
Yeah, that's, well, then you can
Thanks, Meredith.
continue to work.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, however, want to formally lodge a complaint? A lot of stomping going on up in your area this morning.
I'm full of excitement.
Okay, all right.
Meredith says every day.
Yeah. We got a big chuckle out of that. So how are you?
Pretty good.
Good, good. Did I communicate to you that we put the appointment on an agenda?
I looked at the agenda
Okay,
this morning,
all right.
so yeah.
Thank you. I couldn't remember if I did that or not. So, what's up?
So tomorrow I have to go to county area director training, so thanks for taking me today. I couldn't make it tomorrow. So this is just my monthly update, what I'm up to. Really just trying to work on getting towards fair. 4-H is where I spend most of my time these days. But also I need an advisory board, so that's kind of what you'll take action on later. But so that's what I presented before you. Is just,
Okay.
I'd like to get going. We still don't have all the roles filled, but I just found a copy of the old minutes, and so the bylaws might shift, and so that we may have less vacancies, more, I don't know, just depending on what the board that is willing to move forward says. So.
Okay. And that's on our agenda for tomorrow, correct, Meredith? Consideration of the Extension Advisory Committee members? Yeah. Okay.
It's on today.
Oh, it's on today, okay. I just
Today.
didn't go look, so. I thought I had a copy of your bylaws for that here, but maybe.
Consideration.
Oh, yeah, there.
Boys,
Revised May of 2018, you're aware of those?
Yep,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
but in the minutes there was mention of getting rid of the student,
mhm.
and they were still in the bylaws, so I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay.
So we'll see how that works,
Okay.
yeah.
So your recommendations stand,
Yes,
5 people, correct?
yes,
Okay.
unless anyone else in the room. I kept trying to get Meredith, she said no.
Okay, good. And would Mr. Evans as the ag teacher be an ex officio non-voting member?
No, he just is the FFA advisor,
Okay.
so that's just a seat that
Okay.
whoever is in that occupies,
Voting or non?
voting,
Oh,
yeah,
wow. Good.
at least that's my.
My question, why does Kyle Evans have no expiration date?
He is the FFA teacher, so his
Perfect.
term is as long as he's a teacher.
As long as he leaves.
Yeah.
Got it, okay, didn't get that.
Yeah, no, that's
Thank you.
okay. That is confusing.
Yeah, and I wonder if maybe better wording might be term to run concurrent with
Yeah.
his
His
employment,
employment with the.
something,
with
you
the
know, because
school.
somebody may look and go, wonder why.
And that's why I asked,
Mhm.
I mean, I dawned on me, he is the teacher, it just didn't put those two together as quickly as I
Yeah.
should
No
have.
problem.
That's all right.
Okay,
I work
good.
in my head most of the time. I'm like, I know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Anything else?
No, that's really it.
Meet quality assurance
Oh, yeah.
tonight,
Tonight,
2-hour meeting.
5 to 7. But we'll probably be there at 3 to
Set up.
whatever. Yeah.
And is that the Saddle Club building?
Yeah. Do they have water yet?
They can have, all they gotta do is turn it on.
Oh, okay.
So, as far as I know, it's currently shut off.
Okay. I'll call them.
Do you have George Coon's information?
Yes.
Yeah, they could turn that on for your meeting, turn it off later tonight or tomorrow morning, but, my understanding is it's off, so why we're not having our meeting there tonight, because you guys are, so we're going to Boca Bingo. Yeah, I had a family ask me why the quality meat assurance meeting is 2 hours long.
So it's a training essentially. How do you do all this stuff for
The
your
injections and
animals?
all that, so.
Yeah, and so they get introduced to the material and then tested on
Okay,
it,
so it's all done today, so they can be
Yeah.
certified. So
Yeah.
meat quality assurance, really the program is, in a nutshell, is to teach and train young people how to handle their animals to assure a high quality meat product at the end, primarily tied to injection sites. In the old days, everybody gave shots to pigs in the hams. And then when you process the pig, now you have a black spot on that ham for the rest of its life, typically. And so now they do a lot of shots in the neck and places like that. So that's really kind of in a nutshell what that's. Not just about the injection sites, but that's a big one. Misuse or mishandling of animals can also affect quality of the meat. So.
Doesn't involve the feeding either.
You know, I'm not really sure. Part of this is for me to learn as well
Yeah.
how to run it next year. So 4-H has a trailer that they bring up, and next year I can just run the whole thing. So I can answer it tomorrow.
Yeah, because I have a meeting, obviously, at the same time, I probably will not be there.
And so it's also for the FFA kids as well. So it's a good joint effort there.
Yeah, family was a little concerned about starting that close to the end of a working person's day and going through the dinner hour. And I thought, yeah, 2 hours does seem like a long time, but if they're going to get certified too, all at once, why?
Yeah.
Good. And that's, I think, by state fair rules, they don't have a choice. They have to go through this mandatory. So.
Yeah. And I think that was one of the times and dates that was available. So that has something to do
Okay,
with it.
very good. Well, excellent.
Do you think Kelly will be a decent member?
I think so.
Think she can handle it?
Yeah. Seems like she's got some knowledge on that front.
You're going to let her vote, are you? Because that would be,
I need some advice.
Yeah. Very good. All right. Well, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So you guys will vote later? Or
Yes.
no? Okay.
We get into
Later.
the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, which is coming up very quickly. So if you have
Just hang
another
out.
3 or 4 minutes,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
You okay?
Yes. Yes.
Any complaints?
Nope. Just laying down the law when I need to.
Good.
Okay.
Good. Good. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on. Unfinished business, gentlemen. I have none.
I don't have any, sir.
Mr. Kanda?
None here.
Okay, we'll move on to new business. We'll allow public comment on any action items, discussion on the grant writing for Custer County as an entity. Thank you, Commissioner Prince, for providing that document, giving us some direction and guideline on primarily really using our BOCC Administrative Assistant. Jackie, you want a copy of this? Sure. To help other entities tied to the county, correct?
Right, I just
Was
wanted
your
to make
intent-
sure that, I was a little concerned that our administrative assistant, because of her expertise, might be
Abused.
inundated without, I thought we need to help control that and make some procedures as to when and where we will. Last minute thing was, we're gonna go, sorry, you waited too long, it's your problem. Those kind of problems were the things I tried to address.
Just a question, Jay, is how do we work with the CCED Inc. guys? Because usually they're pushing projects and they also have the ability to write grants and help us, right? Do we coordinate with them?
Absolutely. I mean,
So it's not just, we only have one, we got more than one grant writer.
we have lots of grant writers.
Right.
But I was concerned about our grant.
That's right, so because that, first, we gotta make sure we're getting everybody else
And I even
involved.
put in here that if an organization wants to do their own grant outside of us,
Yeah.
we encourage you to do that.
It's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah,
Because you make reference to assist county organizations, so then that begs the question is, what would be a county organization? Would the Economic Development Company be one?
See, they,
I don't think they are, but I think they write an attempt to get grants on our behalf.
They're always coming up with things for us to do, and we gotta make sure they provide people as well when they do that, so we're not abusing them.
This is just a roadmap, like we can change
Sure.
anything you want, it was just a starting point for discussion.
I would ask council maybe, could we loosely adopt this as guidelines? I don't,
Sort of an
I don't
administrative
think we
process
need
that we have as a board.
ordinances
Yeah,
and
we should-
resolutions, but
This is our process of doing business, just operating as a board.
Sure, it doesn't have to be some kind of a formal vote on anything. If this looks like what you want, just use it.
We ought to put it on a bulletin board somewhere.
Put it on the web, put it on the website.
Yeah, put it on the website.
Well, I would move we adopt these guidelines for our administrative assistant when it comes to grant writing.
I'll say.
Moved and seconded to adopt the guidelines. I guess you're okay with that, sir, is that language, to give us some direction on utilizing our administrative assistant
Process.
as a grant writer. Further discussion?
You okay with that?
Yeah, I just wanted to make it a point that, I know it says it in the document, which I appreciate, is that the grant writing for other entities will not take precedence over the actual day-to-day.
Right one.
Because I left Donna kind of hanging on this payroll, there's some things that not fell through the cracks but were rushed, because I wasn't able to be a help to that 50-50 match that we have in the.
And that was one of the concerns.
Yeah,
we had,
and it
so.
was, and I stayed up all night Thursday writing the landfill grant to make sure it was done. So I just wanna make sure that that was a.
1B.
Yeah, and I guess it is kind of a control thing. I would hope that if somebody comes to you and says, man, we need you to help us write this grant, I would hope your immediate response is, you need to take that to the commissioners. I cannot answer that. I'm not trying to run your life, but in a way, we want to
That also gives me an out.
insulate you. Yes,
I guess.
exactly.
You can use
The
us.
best way to
right.
say.
Right. And I would guess the commissioners are gonna come right back and say, well, before we vote on this, or before we make a decision, we're gonna ask you for your input. And you have to be honest and say, you know what, you guys, I don't have time. It's not a knock against the organization, or their cause, or whatever, it's just, I can't do it, I've got other responsibilities.
And then we'll prioritize.
And then we'll go from there.
You know, cause it could be that you need the help. Who knows?
Yeah.
It would have to be a decision we have to make.
Yeah, I think another point, in all of grant writing, it's important for someone who's actually writing the grant to be involved in that arena. And so that time that I have to spend researching and figuring out the words or the lingo for that one section is time that I could be spent something else, or so that person who's in the arena needs to write up a narrative, the big idea of that grant, then I can add in the things, but it's hard for someone who's not in that arena to try and paint this big picture, which is what's needed for grants, when
1C.
I don't know what that is.
Right.
I tried to incorporate that in here,
Yeah,
because I recognize it as an issue.
And I don't believe anywhere in your job title is incorporated grant writing. You're an administrative assistant to the board, you're not a grant writer for the county. So I think that that's part of the spirit of this, that we have your time blocked out, half here and half with Miss Donna, so.
So does this primarily, affect county departments, or are we talking about like childhood development, or, you know, the outside agencies? Because outside agencies, if they're writing grants and they can get a free grant writer,
Jump all over that.
oh yeah,
Ordinarily, if we were
normally
the fiscal
pay for it.
agent, that's when it would come through here. And a lot of those grants, the county is the fiscal agent, because they won't do it for that organization. But really, that was all the commissioners ever signed on for, was to put their name to it, to let it pass through, not.
But not to write the grant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that could get out of hand real fast.
Yeah. which it already has,
That's the
actually.
whole purpose of this, is so that we don't allow it to get out of hand.
Up all night, that's not right.
Yeah.
And both these grants were, they just weren't good, the airport and the landfill. They came at the last minute and,
But she was a rock star.
yeah, so.
If we
Don't
could
let
get
the
some
Oh my
money
gosh.
for that, I know.
Don't tell him.
No. Further discussion? Public comment? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of adopting the guidelines for an administrative assistant in the grant writing area, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. So we will post that, and we can ask Vernon to stick that on the website as well. Maybe we can consider it a living document and revisit it if we need to, and kind of go from there. But a great,
I'll give you this.
great stab at it, sir. Thank you for doing that. Appreciate it.
The only thing I would, you might want to tweak is, you know, sometimes there's gonna have to be a decision made whether she prioritize, how to prioritize things. Right, what we state here is, and I should have brought this up sooner, but, you know, it won't be tolerated, it's the sole responsibility of the organization, and if it's something that, for whatever the reason was, is out of their control, it can, now we decide to ignore it and then lose the grant or not, somebody has to make that decision.
I thought that was, I tried to make that
Is that
clear at the
up?
very beginning, at the
Beginning?
top,
Well,
where
maybe
it
it is.
says, it comes to us, we decide whether we're going to
Okay.
proceed or
Then
not. That's
that'll-
kind of how I
that'll-
felt,
You need this?
because I agree with you. I mean, if there's $1 million grant needed tomorrow, and it's easy to do.
Yeah. Do it.
You don't mind?
No, she-
Okay, good, thank you. Appreciate your work on that, sir. Thanks for taking the lead. Consideration of the MOU with the Wet Mountain Valley Saddle Club. I provided a copy of said MOU. I've also got a hard copy here. I would move that we enter into an MOU with Custer County and the Wet Mountain Valley Saddle Club pertaining to the repayment schedule of the outstanding water bill.
I second it.
Moved and seconded to enter into an MOU with Wet Mountain Valley Saddle Club in the county. Discussion. Thank you, sir. I hammered out what I thought was the framework and then sent it to the counselor and Smith and asked him to go through that and revise. I thought he did a great job. It's exactly what I thought we needed, and I
Yeah, it looks
certainly
very
wasn't
good.
capable of writing all that. So
You had it all, I just switched a few words around and charged you an enormous amount of money.
nice. Thank you.
Are there a lot of
That's where those whereas.
Not, yeah.
Yeah.
Each whereas was
Yeah.
$1,000.
He's not telling the whole truth there. Believe me, I gave him a pretty rough document, so thank you for doing that, sir. Appreciate it. Any other questions or concerns, gentlemen? Hearing none, is there any public comment? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of entering in an MOU with the Wet Mountain Valley Saddle Club in the county, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. I will carry this document to their board meeting tonight, of which I will be attending. I don't know that we'll get action on it, but at least I can give it to them, and they can consider it. Hopefully they'll do it tonight. That's kind of why I did it today instead of tomorrow. So I will take that with. Thank you. And the next item of the agenda is consideration of the Extension Advisory Board appointments. Ms. Guinevere had provided those to us in her board packet report, so.
Okay, I move we accept the members for the Extension Advisory Board as presented, with Janet Freeberg and Kelly Camper expiring year 2022, January, and the other three expiring 1/20. That would be Jordan Hedberg, Kyle Evans, and Mary Gum.
Okay.
And Kyle Evans has no
Right,
expiration
okay, thank you. Clarification now.
because he's the ag
Right.
at that age.
Been moved and seconded to recommend to approve the recommendations for membership on the Extension Advisory Committee to include Janet Freeberg, Kelly Camper, Jordan Hedberg, Kyle Evans, and Mary Gump. And their stated terms of expiration, which Commissioner Candy just clarified. Discussion? And are you guys have a meeting scheduled now?
Yep, for the 12th.
Okay, and that is going to be downstairs.
Yep.
Another point that I'd like to make is certainly was not anybody's intent or desire to meet downstairs in the basement, but we don't have much choice. We're running
Out of space.
We just don't have space. So what time is that?
10 a.m.
Oh, at 10, okay.
At what time?
10 a.m.
When, what
That's
day?
the 12th.
Yes.
12 March.
You guys are welcome to come.
Yeah.
I've got a tourism
Some
meeting.
of us will be in the tourism board, but I'll probably try to slip down there, so. Yeah, I mean, Guinevere and I talked about it. It's not our desire to have public meetings down there in that basement, and we just don't have much choice. And Tuesday happens to be a VSO day, so I didn't feel like we should be having it over there when Roger's trying to conduct business at the VSO annex. So if you get some grumbling about a meeting being held in the basement, that's why we shouldn't have a choice. Someday maybe that will not be the case, but.
I can look for other places in the future.
Yeah, personally, if you're not having during the day, that ag classroom is a great place to have a meeting like that. They have plenty of room.
It used to meet here,
Did they?
but it was in the evening,
Yeah. Further discussion,
We don't get the spelling right.
public comment. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you for bringing those names to us. We appreciate your work there. It's hard being new to go out and try to contact people, so I really appreciate your efforts there. Good luck with Mrs. Camper. It could go downhill at any given moment. You never know.
Come on, she's awesome. Thanks to
She
All right.
doesn't know me yet.
That's right, thank you, appreciate it. One quick question, gentlemen. Would you support the request to have Cindy Howard come and give us a EMS report as staff? I don't need an answer necessarily, I'm just throwing it out for us to think about. I just have a hard time keeping track of what really is going on, where we're at with our grants and this and that. She talks about some of that at CES, but
Well, it's separate, that's why, but, so think
I
about it.
mean, she reports to us directly.
I believe we used to do that.
I was gonna say, I always thought she did do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, where has she been?
Well, and that's fine, well, that's, I would support that, I would like to know what's
If
going on.
you
there.
would,
There's a
then
lot
I'll
of money.
contact her.
Yeah, let her do it.
There's a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah, I'm right now, I'm guilty of kind of just getting my information whenever I bump into her. If I got a quick question, I'll send it to her, but I think as someone who reports directly to the commissioners, I think she should report.
Well, she should.
Are you thinking of adding it as a regular
Staff,
monthly
yes,
item?
yes,
EMS?
yes.
That's a great idea.
What do you think, Kel? You had history in that?
She was always on there. I don't understand why she's not been on
Yeah,
there.
that's why I kind of looked at you, I go.
Yeah.
She always comes in every month, doesn't she?
She always did for a long time.
Oh,
She did,
well,
she
I'm
was
just saying,
coming.
she
I hadn't-
isn't now.
I hadn't seen her
She
since,
hasn't for a couple months.
She
I think
was out of
kind of
town.
quit when she was it when her dad
Dad
was
was
sick
sick.
or?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
she-
that
maybe she
kind,
just
and
got-
then she just never really
Let's just
came
start
back.
it back up again. I
But
think
did
Yeah,
we
she
consistently have her on the agenda?
Yeah, we did.
She's on the agenda for.
She was on last month. She
Is she?
came in last month.
She's
Huh?
yeah, she's supposed to
Can you
be.
check the door? It should be on. It should be on the staff reports for tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I beg your pardon, please disregard everything I just said. I don't know why I had this,
Maybe if you have.
maybe it
So,
was
and
because she
did
hasn't done it
last month or the month before.
Yeah, there was one month she wasn't
Yeah,
here.
maybe that's
She
what-
normally
Maybe it's all the acronyms, Tom.
Maybe if you'd have a cup of coffee.
I tried.
They're out of order.
Supposed to
gonna
be
get
an out of
gaveled
order.
down, aren't I?
That's right. So I apologize, folks, and I apologize to Cindy. I just was thinking, man, I just don't. It's been a while, I guess. So, okay, good. Shows you how much attention I've been paying, huh? Embarrass myself. Any further items to come before the commission and new business, gentlemen?
I just want to reiterate, we're meeting in the courtroom at 1:30, is that correct?
Here.
Or here?
Courtroom?
I don't know, I'm asking, I guess.
So
I'm
the
asking.
courtroom's available for it.
Okay.
I know our last meeting, we talked about the
Courtroom.
here or courtroom.
Yeah.
I believe it was
Courtroom.
solidified for courtroom.
Okay, and that's at 1:30,
1:30, yes, sir.
and that's to look at the bids and.
Yeah, Tom Franklin's over there now, getting everything set up and squared away.
And I think we're gonna select citizens to put on that committee for us to vote.
Right.
Yeah, okay, good. Anything else, gentlemen?
Much for me, sir.
Say 1 o'clock?
1:30.
Or 1:30.
Public comment?
I move to
Hearing
adjourn.
none? I'll second the motion. Been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nay. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.